Action! Welcome back.
Got another episode of the Not So Perfect podcast. With you as always, I am Matt Chinn.
And Gerardo Cornejo. We are at episode number 34.
If we got any fact checkers out there, make sure we're right on that
Yeah,
number.
check us, keep us accountable.
Keep us accountable.
Keep us honest. We've been having fun and we got a lot of great feedback on last week's.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening, watching. We kind of just meet where we're at for the week, and I think a lot of us have more in common than we think.
Yeah, yep. So first thing, just some bits from last week we had, comments on, what was it, consistency? Someone was patiently awaiting our next drop while they were going on their weekly walks. So we got a comment saying, glad to see a new pod up.
Yeah, they were thinking of us. It was time. Another person definitely related with what's going on in their life and what has happened.
I think they just hit a year, didn't they?
A year?
A year since things really, his life changed forever.
Yeah. So thank you guys. This is just us. We are very relatable, and what you are thinking about and going through is also very relatable. You're not the only one. You're not alone.
Yeah, good chance whatever you got going through your head, we've all had it at some point or maybe in the current moment, But being silent about it, not opening up and talking about things is how you let those things fester and build.
So, I like your new hat.
Oh yeah, yep. Got a new, my old one officially, all the plastic knobs on the back are officially ripped off. So I figure that's a good.
It says, nobody cares, work harder.
Common theme in here.
Yes, sir.
We'll work on our panning camera skills later, but this is the main message.
Yeah, we filmed this on one take. It's live.
That's right. Yep.
We're that professional. But how's this week going? Getting closer to the race?
Yeah, we're another week closer. Got a lot of work done over the weekend. Met with one of my ladies, Amanda, on Friday for a couple hours, and met with my other lady, Maggie, on Saturday for a couple hours. So got a lot of work accomplished, got a lot of boxes checked. So yeah, we're in a good place right now. And yeah, this week's another busy week. We're doing this podcast, and I'm doing Missouri Behavioral Health Council's podcast tomorrow with Brent McGinnis. Shout out Brent. Looking forward to doing that with him.
We will put the link on the description of this when it comes out.
Yeah. So I don't know how they do their setup. It's probably not as speedy and as professional as our setup here.
I mean, we've been doing 34 episodes.
That's right. We kind of know what we're talking about here. So
it's perfect by now.
Yeah. So excited about that. Getting to kind of be in someone else's wheelhouse for a podcast. So that's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
And then what else we got? It's a busy week.
April 15th.
Yeah. Quarterly taxes are due.
And filing.
I paid mine yesterday.
Your extensions are due.
Yes. You haven't filed an extension. Today's
extension filing day.
Today's the day. So shout out also all those accountants out there.
Yeah.
Last day, people. Hang in there.
Keeping us accountable.
That's right. So, outside of that, nothing too crazy. Hit an AA Wardsville meeting last night. Love going out there. They voted to move it from 8 p.m. to 7 p.m., which was a little bit nicer just because by the time I get home from that, it's already past my bedtime. So, but no, just going out there, man, I just get a lot of different perspectives of, it's not to say that the perspectives I get are right, wrong. They're just different from mine, and that's the good thing about AA, and we kind of talked about it last night in the meeting, is just outside of these rooms, we probably have a lot that we don't agree on. But inside this room, we all have the same common goal, So if somebody that's in that room voted for someone that I didn't vote for, like in those halls, it does not matter. We're here for one purpose, and that's to stay sober and help others to stay sober as well. So a lot of good info out there, a lot of old sobriety. So a lot of 30 plus, 25 plus years of sobriety. So those are the people I gravitate to. If they've been doing it that long, probably something to it,
What's to those that have been sober that long, what has kept them that? What's the one thing that keeps them?
Meetings.
Staying. So accountability, the groups.
Going to meetings.
Okay.
And not just being limited to one meeting, but I got people that I know that go to the Wardsville meeting, they go to the Mary's Home meeting, they go to the Freeburg meeting, they go to the, they venture out and go different places, and that's kind of their social life, where before we're bar hopping from place to place. Well, now on my weekdays, like, all right, is it going to be Wardsville AA tonight, or am I going to go to IC on Wednesday night, So just a different way of life. a much easier, softer way of life.
And
than
the
previous.
brotherhood. Well, is it mostly men?
At the Wardsville meeting,
demographic?
there's one lady that shows up. It's not limited to just men. There are some men and women's meetings.
I've never thought about
specifically.
that.
But there's a good old lady that comes out there. She's a small town girl, so she fits in pretty well with us.
Oh, she ain't scared of nobody.
No. Yeah, she's probably meaner than most of the guys in there, which rightfully so if you're going to hang out with that bunch of yahoos. But yeah, it was just a good time, and it just refills my cup. Getting done with that and getting home, getting a good night's sleep, getting some dinner for me and the dog, and so just a good day, and it's been a good week, and hopefully it keeps trending that way.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
It's a surprise for today. My wife, Stacy, and I have we've surrendered to the children. We will be adding a 6th member to the Cornejo family group, and we are getting a little puppy today. So it was cool experimenting with it. We've held them when they were first born. Our neighbors have actually had some Aussie poos, Aussie doodles, whatever they're called, a puppy. And we've been watching them, but this one, the family wasn't going to be able to come pick it up. So guess who was next in line? The Cornejos.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. We brought him over the other night just for Irie, our oldest. Stacy picked her up from school late at night. She's like, my baby. She just started crying, like the emotion. So it's more of like a support animal for Irie, our oldest, our teenager, and watching her play with him. And she told Stacy, she's like, Mom, you don't know how bad I needed this. And it's like,
I tell you what, there's a reason why dog and God are just inverse, because there is a lot that I agree with that sentiment.
Yeah.
Because honestly, coming from my spot, I was in a place where I was sober for, about a year, maybe even a little bit longer, year and a half I was sober,
Wow.
but there was still something missing in my life. I had this void that I needed to fill, and getting that dog, Carlos, he filled every void that I had and then some. So whether that be good, bad, or indifferent, I credit it all the time. He helped save my life and helped keep me sober, and because there was a part where it was a pretty dark part of my life. I didn't have a license, so I couldn't drive anywhere. I didn't have a vehicle, so I couldn't drive anywhere. So it was literally just running to work, running home, and then just running. And that was basically what I had to choose from. So getting that dog really helped fill a lot of downtime.
You weren't no longer alone.
Not after him.
Yeah.
Not after him. Which, in lieu of that, I'm sure what he just told you guys did not help what I did yesterday, or what Carlos did yesterday.
Carlos was in the building. Shout out.
Carlos is in the building yesterday. So one of my clients really loves whenever I bring him, and I had the window where I had time to run home and get him, and then come back, and then had time to take him home for this client. But I got him in the car, and we were halfway to the gym, and I realized I forgot his harness and his leash, which for him is very important because he's an 85-pound meat missile. So I was trying to use a makeshift leash that I have, which was a resistance band in this case. And anyways, Carlos got away from me whenever I went up front to check and make sure the front door was unlocked, and he peed on Gerardo's fake plant. So on behalf of Carlos and I, we apologize to you and your fake
Apology
plant.
accept. After further investigation and security cameras, poor Carlos was caught red-handed. He's just like,
Gerardo pulled up the camera footage, and you just caught a dog.
Carlos, you got caught. Your dad's making up for it. That was so funny though, because
So I'm like, oh boy, I bet he's really gonna hate a dog after I left this little.
it was like it had to get me in the mood or in the correct mentality, the correct mindset.
These are things that happen with dogs,
So,
and they will.
thank
and will
you,
not
Carlos,
tell you
for
when they gotta
reminding
pee
me.
or poop or whatever. So yeah, but anyways, we had a good laugh about
You
that.
need a 300-pound resistance band.
I had to come clean on the. I got the text thread on the drive home, and I'm just like, oh no. And then the camera footage came up. I was like, you see what you did, buddy? We're in the doghouse now. We're going to be on cleaning duty in the entire building.
No, that's the beauty of them, and we
You guys
love
got a
them.
name yet?
we got a few names in the bucket or in the hat, and then we'll see which one.
Let's
which
let
one.
the suspense
Yes.
carry on until next episode.
Yes. So we'll keep you posted on number 6 Cornejo's future name. But it was cool. Now it's a different perspective of getting the dog, because if the first one was our first Royce. Rest in peace, Mr. Royce.
Shout out. Shout out.
We got him 17 years ago now, because he's been gone for 2 years. So we're like, no more dogs, no more dogs. We're finally here, but now we're more active. Our 5-year-old is going everywhere with us. It's not diapers all the time. So seeing them interact and having them be older siblings too, they're more mature now.
Oh yeah.
Having a family meeting yesterday of like, okay, this is real. I'm gonna discipline this dog. He's just gonna be like another one of you guys. He's another one of us.
Yeah.
You know, so again, it's kind of cool because we're taking it more serious. It's not just like, we've been looking at puppies for 2 years.
Well, and you know what happened last time with Royce. You know where you messed up. You know what errors you made, and then you can kind of go back and readjust and kind of, do a better job at, all parenting. Basically, is what it is.
Yeah.
Just a different kind.
And we had Royce for 15 years, so he was just a human being.
Yeah.
Like Carlos is just a human part of you now.
Yeah, there's things I wish I could go back and do differently, but being a first-time dog owner and not really knowing, not given the playbook whenever you get the dog of how to handle things and, how to properly do stuff. But, they're joy.
And it was crazy because yesterday, one of my real estate coaches that posts a lot on social media, he put a picture that just said surrender. And I went to read back what he was talking about, and it's like, before you surrender, like, ask yourself, where are you at? And that's kind of what we were gonna take this podcast into. Like, always ask yourself, where are you at? And I kind of texted Matt about this. He was like, am I getting lectured right now? So where are we at now with the kids, with the family? We're active, so we got an active, smart dog. I'm excited now. Like, I don't have any excuses to not get out of bed in the morning and go for a walk now.
Wave at your neighbors while you're walking the dog.
Yep. And then move my body first thing in the morning, get that fresh air, get some vitamin D first thing. So I'm looking forward to it, but we had to see where we're at. And kind of like sobriety questions, like, where am I at? You were in a jail cell.
Yeah.
It's time to surrender. So those thoughts, it helps when you're getting, the time is coming when you have to surrender, whatever the situation is. So let's talk about some examples of that.
Yeah.
Surrendering.
Yeah. Well, something I try and practice every day is try and do first thing is just getting up and surrendering to my higher power. Dear God, appreciate you giving me another chance at another day to stay sober. And then if I make it through that day, before the night goes over, before I go to bed, same thing, just in reverse. Dear God, thank you for keeping me sober another day. Look forward to another opportunity tomorrow.
And the beauty is where you're at. You're in your home. You have a roof over your head. The heating and cooling works.
Well, and the other aspect of it a lot of people overlook is whenever I say I get out of my bed and I get on my knees, there's a reason why I get on my knees. I'm surrendering to my higher power, So there is a ritual with that, which, am I going to get on my knees for any human being that's walking this earth today? No, not at all. But for him, I will, because that's the person that brought me from the darkness and showed me that there is light. Now it doesn't mean it was easy, but he showed me that there is a path, because up until that point, I thought the path was darkness, So he gave me that. The least I can do is get on my knees in the morning and before bed and thank him for the opportunity and another chance. So there is something to it. So if you don't believe me, try it for a month and see if you're quitting after a month.
I was going to try to make, that was beautiful. But I was like, I'm surrendering now to like cleaning dog pee on my knees.
Well, again,
and get it on my knees.
Surrendering to my higher power is always top of the pyramid. But guess what goes underneath? Dog pee, dog poop, dog vomit. Let's see, what else? Whatever else they decide to do. But yeah, so it starts with the most important thing of my day, and then after that, then I take care of the rest of the business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stuff that I'm in control of.
And that does, there's a lot of freedom in that too, man. So
it's It's
And
hard to
peace.
explain, but there's a moment that hits where it's like you feel that peace come over you, where usually we're very chaotic and we're thinking 12 steps ahead, and then we got to figure out what sporting event this kid's got tonight and then the ones we got tomorrow. We're just always preoccupied with so many other things. So if you can take that time and just kind of enjoy that, the no headphone, the no podcast, the no nothing, but you're outside with a leash and your dog and your neighborhood. You know, you're hearing the birds chirp,
The trees, the
maybe you're
birds.
seeing the sunrise. You know, so again, it's all in the perspective of how you're looking at things.
That to that point perspective, business is going great. I've decided to switch my mindset to, it's like, all right, I had a great meeting with my team yesterday. Checking everybody where they're at. Where are you at? What can I help you with? Okay, and then everybody has a plan for the week. But it's so crazy how much mindset is just in control.
Yeah.
Perspective and mindset, and then all of a sudden I'm on a mission, and I told everybody, all right, you're working from today till Christmas. That's your next work schedule.
That's your next break.
Yeah, Christmas is going to be my next break. Well, of course, we'll have the trips, the summer, we'll take the vacations, but it's just going to be dialed in work, taking care of people, helping people out, business stuff. But it was amazing that this year I kind of, not that I took first quarter off, but I was able to just think, and again, having a hard time being in your 40s.
Yeah.
About to be 43 here in less than a month. So it's just thinking, and what the heck do we do in our 40s? Where are we at? I'm not getting another dog. All the things you just can imagine. I'm sure we all think about them.
Yeah.
But changed my mindset, and now all of a sudden everything's working for my client. Everything just starts falling into place, and it's so weird describing that because it just does. And I tell it to my team and my agents, and they're just looking at me like just deer in headlight, But it's being in this career or business for 19 years. It just happens like that. Once the mindset changes and you have your principles in place, and then you're on a mission.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and just another additive, like another member of your team that you told me about last week, shout out Cheyenne. Not only is she trying to get in the real estate business, but she's not from here. So in order to have those relationships, it's helpful to know people working at different places, kind of get your name and your face out there just to kind of, better acclimate yourself with the territory you're working
Community.
or just the community you're working within. So shout out to Cheyenne. She's got a job working at a coffee shop just to interact, work on some people skills, some talking skills. And then she's also working somewhere else, just working with people, just forcing her to talk to people, whether it be she wants to, whether she doesn't want to do, just to kind of work on honing in those communication skills.
Yeah, and she comes from a career, she went to college for a degree.
I think it was SEMO, wasn't it? Yeah.
SEMO graduate, D1 basketball player, and then she had a career. Yeah, so it's just you never stop learning. Like, yes, it's cool to go to college. You experience the sports, got to meet probably your best friends in college that we end up having, but you're still not done learning. And she, which we tell her, is like, you were, she was the strength and conditioning coach at a university, Lincoln University. And I was like, you were in charge of a group, let alone teenagers, So,
teenagers and 20-year-olds.
And then she has trouble talking to an adult. Not trouble, but she just doesn't have the confidence yet because it's okay. It's like, when you don't know, just tell them you don't know, you'll find out if they ask a question. So training your brain to redo all that and start all over. It's like, you can control a group of football players, athletes, but when it's a one-on-one professional conversation, and it doesn't really have to be professional. It's like, back to where are you at? All right, you're searching for a home. Where are you at? Are you a first-time home buyer? Are you downsizing? Are you upgrading? Are you relocating? But that's my job to teach them all that. But she is killing it. She is, shout out to 3-Story Coffee. That's where she's serving coffee at. She already got her first lead from working there. And her question was, the lady was like, Cheyenne decided to say, so what do you do for a living? And she was like, I'm actually looking for real estate. Boom.
There you go.
So it's, even though we tell them and we can watch classes, we can be on Zooms and till your ears just hurt, you have to experience it. There's nothing like real life
Yeah.
real life
And
training.
guess what that includes? Failing.
And that's the big scare of failing.
I'll say it like this. I learn the best way that I learn is by failing. You know? I go back to the drawing board. All right, this didn't work, this didn't work, this didn't work. But in the other group, this worked, this worked, this worked, this worked, this worked. Okay, let's knock out a couple of these things that didn't work, tighten this up that did work, and then we go from there. Version 2.0. Go back, all right, made one mistake, mark it out, look at all the good, less bad. You know, and every time you go back, and it gets easier the more, because you're okay with failing because it's already happened, you know? So just something to think about. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. It's not all W's. Every W I have is followed by about 4 losses, you know? And that might be being polite.
Yeah.
You know? So failing is part of growth. You know, you have to fail because you don't know. It's kind of like when Elon tests all of his rockets and they blow up in the sky. They have to test those things to see what they can do and where their tolerances are. We're no different, you know? So in order to grow, you have to fall down, dust off, go to the drawing board, go again.
And our failures are way cheaper than that.
Yes.
So just go and do them. They're cheap.
Yeah.
And my job as a team leader too is something I take very serious with my team, my agents. Is I've been in this longer. I've made 19 years of more mistakes than you guys. My job is to help you make less mistakes.
And that's what I tell everybody that walks into my gym. Look, not expecting you to know everything, but if you're having issues, there's chances are that in my years of doing all this, I've went through it myself, and usually it's that. I've went through it myself. But in the other cases, I've had a client that had a knee replacement, and this is what we did with them, or someone coming off of a rehabilitation surgery or something like that, and they need to do rehab work. It's all similar but different, just depending on what the avenue is. But a lot of what I do is I show people things to prevent them from making mistakes that I made 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever it is.
And we talked about it last week. Check yourself at the door.
Egos.
Ask yourself, where are
egos
you
at
at?
the
Where am
door.
I at? Mentally, physically, soulfully. Is soulfully a word?
It should be.
It is now, soulfully.
It should be if it's not.
But check yourself where you're at before we go do all that thing. That's what's helped me overcome, you know, and surrender and have peace. Because what I'm discovering in my 40s, the older I get, we would rather have peace. I'm meeting some 50, 60-year-olds that do not have peace in their minds. And that's me thinking like 20 years from now, like, God, can I imagine struggling in my brain, and it's just in here, struggling for 2 more decades of struggling like that. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So we choose to fix it now by doing the hard things, by failing faster.
Yeah. And a lot of times, I mean, even from your perspective, where you got your team, you got your family, you got several different groups you're, kind of not in charge of, but kind of in charge of. But the thing with that is like, when you're looking at, where do I need to be with my family right now? Are we at a good spot? Do we have one of the kids that's struggling with, body positivity or mental health or not making the varsity basketball or whatever, whatever it is, just all the different aspects that your family has, And then it's like, well, all right, we need to spend a little bit more time with the kids. Just, maybe it's the right time for the dog now, just since one of them's kind of struggling with, whether it be mental health or whatever it might be. But just just knowing where you're at in the moment and just leaning into that, And again, the biggest thing is like, and I think it's become pretty apparent now with like long form podcasts. The ego is going to be, you're going to reveal your ego in not knowing something by acting like you do, So if I'm in here with somebody and it's, it's a first appointment, I'm trying to get to know what, where they've been or what they've done or what their fitness experience is, I'll find out if they're lying very fast. So it's one of those things. It's like, why are you like?
Yeah.
It's not. You're not going to gain anything by lying to me. You're probably going to get a better chance of being injured or hurt by acting like you know how to do a proper squat when you don't. But that goes with anything. Acting like you know more about real estate than what you do. That's not safe and probably not a great
recommended.
way to. Okay, there you go. Not recommended. So again, it's checking those egos. Because that's honestly what's held me back throughout most of my life is my ego, and I've known that because I've talked about it before where I have ego deaths along at just different journeys of my life where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm no longer burdened by X, that used to just it's like I was strapped to a bed and I couldn't get up, and I just had to think about it all the time, you know? So nothing more powerful than overcoming those things that have been holding you back, you know? And it takes work, you know? But then there's other times where I was just a certain song came on while I was on a run, and I told you about this. It was in front of your rental on West Main.
Yeah.
And that song came on, and for whatever reason, like just the words and just how it hit me in the right moment, I was like, I just stopped running. I took my headphones out, and I was just like, yeah, I don't have to hold on to this anymore.
Yeah.
Headphone back in, and guess what? The rest of that run went a lot smoother.
And that's just core memories. You never forget those.
I know exactly where I was.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it, just because when those moments happen, I can't explain. It wasn't, you know, oh, you must have looked twice before you crossed the road, and that's why. No, I have no explanation of why that song, that moment, that journey, that part of my journey, that's when I was able to finally let go of some things, you know. And as soon as I let go, my progress skyrocketed forward, you know. So the ego can hold us back from a lot of potential, a lot of your human potential.
And in relationships.
Absolutely.
You know what? One of my big ego deaths was surrendering to my current wife, Stacy. You know, it was that day. I was just like, well, I think we could cuss because YouTube asked me, is this for kids or not? And I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Like, she's the one. It's time. Okay, ego. Goodbye. Now let's build with the one.
Yeah.
And she was there all along, you know, for 2-3 years, just through all my bullshit, 3-4 years maybe. Because that's what it was at the time, the ego at the time. But surrendering to that, committing to the relationship, and here we are now 15 years later with another dog.
Yeah, well, I mean, so the flip side of that, you know, if you would have stayed in that old ego,
nope.
That's where I stayed, and I pushed away a lot of good women in my life. You know, I messed up a lot of great relationships with people that I thought had a future with, but at that time in my life, I was picking alcohol over relationships, you know? So that just shows you how in that moment, you know, G decided to realize and recognize what he had in front of him, grabbed it and held on to it, where I went the other way, and I let a lot of good people slip through my life, you know? But again, early sobriety, if I was having this conversation, I'd be probably crying, drooling, sobbing, all the weird stuff that just kind of happens naturally when you're emotional. And today I'm not, you know, but that's been through lots of practice and growth and being okay with where I'm at today and not looking at myself as that person from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. That was putting other things ahead of relationships and you know, having healthy relationships. But again, that just goes to show you where one aspect of your life can be the linchpin, whether you go left, whether you go right, whether things go good, bad, or maybe it's just my path versus your path.
And I know we've heard it, it's not you, it's me. I think
No, it was me.
what it translates to, it's not you, it's my ego.
It was all me and my ego, ladies.
Yeah, it's not you, it's my ego. It's not you, it's my ego. And it's a hard one, especially as a male.
Yeah.
We've discussed it before, what we have to live up to, what we are one little 1 centimeter from failing and losing it all.
Yeah, well, and that's why that sentiment, you know, don't quit 2 seconds before the miracle happens. You know, you've been working so hard and you're working so hard, but you're not seeing the progress that you think you should be seeing. Again, that's you letting your ego get in the way of your progress, you know? So whenever I get in situations like that, I just ask God, please help guide me wherever I need to be going. You know, if I'm hanging on to something I shouldn't be hanging on to, I'll trust you and follow your path. And for whatever reason, he puts little things in my life that direct me, you know. And maybe here's the other crazy part. Maybe they've been happening all along. I was just too drunk to pay attention.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't seeing the signs because I was too ego-driven about myself, you know. So when you stop focusing constantly on yourself and start kind of looking outward in a positive way, how can I help my community? How can I help people in this building? How can I help people in this gym? The universe seems to reward you whenever you put others first. You know, now that's not saying the old me was...
It's a miracle.
The old me was always trying to put everybody else ahead of myself, but at the detriment of me being the doormat. You know, and there's a difference in being willing to help others at your expense versus helping others while also lifting yourself up. And that's how I approach life today. And it's a lot easier, a lot smoother, and not always being a yes man. There's a lot of freedom that comes from telling people no. My schedule is super busy, super jam-packed. I've got multiple things going on all the time. So now I'm at the point where if somebody asks if I can do something, and if I can't, I'll say no. And that's okay. Where before I'd always be yes. Well, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this, but I'll figure it out, Why are you doing that to yourself? Was a conversation I'd have a lot. So just getting over that, just always leaning that direction and being able to be like, you know what? No. We're going to go this way today because I don't have time to do that. Now, if you want to do something later, another date, we can talk about it, but I can't do the time that you're wanting me to do. And again, there's a lot of freedom that comes to, but the first time you got to tell someone no, is he going to be mad at me? It does not matter if they're mad at you or if they're not mad at you. It's just an answer.
And and then you're no longer cool because you're not showing up.
Right.
Or you're not in the pictures. Like, oh, you're lame. It's like, it's just different. You're just choosing to be different.
Yeah. Well, and just another random story I had last night. So I was heading out to Wardsville about 6. I left the house about 6:30, 6:40. Was heading out there, and I got a text from one of my clients who lives pretty close to me. Lives on Boonville Road, so not too far from where I'm at. But anyways, he texted. He said, "Hey, are you home?" This person doesn't know where I live. No. Why? Oh, me and my wife were walking around. We're walking, and we made it to Lola, so we were just curious. It's like red couch out on the curb, missing a cushion. That's me. So he started laughing. He's like, "What are you up to?" I said, "Oh, I was just." I go, "You actually called me in my social event of the week." I go, "I'm heading out to the Wardsville AA meeting," and I go, "So yeah," I go, "A little bit different than if you asked me what I was up to on a Tuesday night about 10 years ago." So, but yeah, so I was like, "Well, I tell you what, if you and your wife are able to walk from where you're at to my neighborhood," I was like, "You're going to dominate this 5K." So
they're prepared. They're training.
They like to walk. That's just part of what they do. So I was like, well, in lieu of what you just told me, here's a flyer.
Yeah.
Save the date. So they're gonna do it. They're excited about it. So yeah, but yeah, just random things like that just pop up. Well, we're in the neighborhood. Just wanted to see, So again, there's mysterious things that are always happening. You just got to be aware.
And one thing I've learned in my industry too, the ego is some people join into this industry just for the ego. This is
Lambos.
This is my show, and
The
this
yachts.
is what I drive. This is my show, and everybody's a luxury agent all of a sudden. But choose your mentors wisely. We've said this before.
Yeah.
Because you're either gonna watch an ego-driven, not corporation, or an ego-driven movement, we'll say, because it will be all about that person. Mm-hmm. It is more you will be learning, but you'll be learning what not to do. But then there's the other.
Under the guise of what you should do.
Correct. And then you'll have a feeling that like, maybe I don't want to do that. It doesn't seem like it's right. I don't think that's how you run a team. Or like, I've been on a team before, and it wasn't a competition about money. It was more of like, let's all get better. So that's kind of where my mentorship has shifted to where I'm at now, because I've experienced a couple of those, and I've seen it throughout all these years. Like, look at me, I'm the billboard. Nothing wrong with advertising and marketing, but you see those egos never really become satisfied or happy or peace.
Yeah.
Because I've sat in, people take me to coffee and they're just bawling. Like, I cannot get 2 minutes to myself.
And are these people in your field?
Yeah, in the profession, in the real estate business field. Mm-hmm. If I was like, if you were to leave for a week, can everything just run? She's like, I have to control everything that happens every minute. I can't let go of it because it's my name's on the line. Well, you built it differently.
Right.
That's all that happened, and it's okay. You made it this far this way. Congratulations.
Yeah.
The work works.
But would you like a vacation at any
Would you
time
like
in
some
your life?
breathing room? Would you like more time for your kids? Like, awesome. I'm blessed in this industry with the relationships I've made. Because, for example, today is puppy day. So from 3 o'clock and after, I have a commitment.
All things puppy.
And of course, my client's like, he can go tomorrow at 5. Called the agent. I've went to lunch and coffee with this agent. She was like, Gerardo, I'll go open a door for you if you have family stuff to do. I was like, I didn't even have to volunteer. But we already have set that relationship.
Yeah.
And for her to have my back, we're not even in the same office.
Right.
We're not even paying the same brokerage, whatever we want to call it. But she was, shout out to that agent who's got my back today. We're going to work together anyways.
Well, I was going to say, and it's not like this is a one-off. Like there might be a time down the road where she needs you to do her a favor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, calling in that favor, remember, and chances are Gerard's going to say, no problem. I'll be there to open the door for him.
And being kind, that's all it is. And it was very cool to have that kind of, there's still people like that in my industry. It's not just like, I'll work hard and get over there and cancel this. Because that's how we were trained. Cancel everything and go. Weekends, we can't leave our houses without our laptops.
Yeah.
Some lenders work super hard because it's 9:30 a.m., 9:30 p.m. or 10:30 p.m. They're in bed. Hey, I need a pre-approval. The really good, hard-working lenders do it immediately. You know, so it's interesting.
But then you look at how do you justify at the end of that day, well, yeah, I missed my kids' soccer and I didn't get to make it to their baseball game, but, we closed 3 pre-approved, whatever, insert whatever
Buyers
real
will
estate
say.
term you want, Right. Well, how does your kid feel? Is your kid happy that you made those 3 extra sales today? I think we all know the answer to that, So something to think about, guys. You've only got a finite time with those kids before either A, you're not cool, B, they don't want to hang out with you anymore, or C, they're graduating high school and moving out of the house. So
and check where you're at before you get the puppy.
Yeah, that time is precious.
And being straightforward with them, back to letting them know where we're at. If you guys I don't want to get rid of another dog.
Yeah.
I don't want to go take it to the dog pound or the animal
if it gets
shelter.
to that point, come on over to the house.
That'll take another one. But let's wrap it up.
Yeah. So
Check yourself, check your ego at the door, check where you're at, meet people where they're at. That's one of the best sentences I've received from a coach that still coaches me 19 years later.
Yeah.
Well, not 19 years later, but meet people where they're at. It's the kindest thing you could do, and it's really just coming from listening.
Yeah. And again, just everybody's got their own opinions, and that's great. Doesn't mean you have to agree with all of them, but also don't be afraid to look at that person's point of view, because what I find a lot in these AA meetings is people experience things so much differently than how I experienced them. I've never thought about looking at it from a different vantage point or a different perspective. So, and looking through some of these people that just, some of them in these AA meetings say some off-the-wall shit that is just wild and crazy, which I'm sure most average people that don't go to those regular meetings sat in one of them, they'd be like, oh my gosh, you guys are nuts. We used to be. So we are getting better. But just the biggest point is just don't be afraid to look through look at an equation or a problem through a different vantage point, a different perspective. Maybe have someone else take a look at it that's got a different perspective than how you go about doing things. Because that doesn't mean that person's right. That doesn't mean that person's wrong. But maybe you can take a couple things that person's doing that you weren't using, and you can incorporate that into your toolbox or your daily tools for adversity, resentments, and whatever else it might be. So, last thing I did like that I didn't get to say was when you and Stacy, the commitment you had whenever that ego death, and you said you got some 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds that you're working with that are bawling at coffee and all that stuff because there's too much. The conversations and the communications that you and Stacy have are so much more advanced than those 50 and 60-year-olds that are just miserable have had. Now, was that done over a 17-hour seminar, one day, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, a 20-minute conversation here? And yes, that might be a tough 20-minute conversation, but look at being 20 years down the road and being absolutely miserable by not talking to your wife or your husband or the person that you say you love till death do you part, where you guys are just developing more and more resentments and you're getting further apart,
And I think thank you for acknowledging
I wanted to say that because I just kept kind of forgetting about it before we got back to it.
I have a core memory too, exactly at my 38-year-old birthday, my 38 year, and we got married. I think I was 27 or 28. So that's a decade later is when we matured as a couple. And it took me a decade. Of course, she's almost perfect. She's way better than me. But it almost took me a decade for my failures. And even recently now, you know, the conversations we have now about where we want to go with our life, and we talk about retirements and finances, like we're still working on those dailies, and we're happier than ever where we're about to go.
Yeah.
Not where we've been in this last, since I've been independent, almost 10 years. Well, yeah, 10 years now. It's just the decades, man. The decades add up, and that's how long it takes me to mature, a decade.
Yeah, well, it took me 35 years before I matured, so the journey is never over, okay?
Journey is never over.
Long story short. So, with that being said, love y'all.
Thank you for watching. Capital City Race coming up.
Saturday, May 9th.
The link is in the comments.
Yep.
Thank you for not being perfect. Peace.
Deuces. Oh.